Hello, and welcome to the USF Bullcast taking place here at the USF St. Petersburg campus, taking place also at the Multimedia Digital Journalism Department. I'm your host for this evening, Matthew Lee, and we're so excited that you're tuning in live to join us this evening. But before we get into this week's topics, I'd like to introduce to you a new host this evening. I'd like to introduce to you Alex Logue.
Hello, everybody. I am a digital media and multimedia journalism major here at USF St. Pete as well, and I'm very glad to be on here.
Well, I think I speak for everyone when we're glad to have you as well, Alex. Really great to have you. And as you guys can see, we've made a couple new decoration changes. We have some plants and a few crystals here too, a little bit more of a cozier vibe. But in tonight's segment, we're going to be talking about finance, and I think that's an important subject whether you're a student or a member in the greater Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg area. It's an important topic that all of us need to know, especially in the trying times with inflation and whatnot. So something that really comes to mind when I think about the current times right now is your experience, Alex, as a college student. And maybe inflation isn't affecting you directly, I don't know. But do you know of anything in regards to the USF community or just around the area? What are people going through? And do you have an idea of how people are being affected by inflation?
I do know that some people are affected by inflation in the sense that some may have to work 2 jobs, maybe even 3. A lot of people utilize a lot of the on-campus jobs that you can get, such as a peer coach. You can work at the SLC building as well. In other ways, I'm not sure. I believe working at the library too, and a lot of going to the Career Center and getting your resume in check. You could also apply to a lot of positions on campus, such as a residential assistant and a lot of other jobs, like with the bookstore, behind the front desk, or maybe even at the Starbucks. There's also a food restaurant here on campus called the Kawa Brewery. Coffee shop, which is a good place to work. There is also a taco shop in the 727 Eats built in the USC, which is the University Student Center. And you can also work in the mail room.
Those sound like phenomenal opportunities that are available to students. And something I remember last semester, I was doing a story on inflation and regarding bicycle riders. And I had an interviewee told me that because of inflation and these trying times right now is that he's actually deciding to do more bike rides rather than drive his car, and only driving his car if the need arises for it, whether to be going to work or visiting his family that lives about 3 hours away from St. Petersburg. But since we're on these important topics right now, I took the liberty today of doing an interview with a certified financial planner who actually works at the institute that I work for, and he serves as one of our great board members. So what we're going to do right now is tune into that interview, and we hope that you'll be able to learn something, and we hope that all of this information can benefit you on your financial journey. Hello, and welcome to the USF Bullcast. My name is Matthew Lee, and I want to thank all of you for joining us today. I'm pleased to announce that we have a special guest joining us to educate us on finance and how we can be more responsible with our finances, whether you're a student or if you're just a member in the community. So I'm pleased to introduce to our guest speaker this evening, Daniel Makris, a certified financial planner. Dan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent. Can't thank you enough for dedicating your time to join us this evening. So anyways, we have a couple things we want to go over in regards to finances. But before we get into that, could you give us a brief introduction on what it is that you do in the financial services industry?
Absolutely. I got in the business in 1994. Doing research for an advisor, investment research, and fell in love with it. Got licensed, became a certified financial planner, working mostly with retirees in the Bay Area. working with the corporations on the 401k side also, and then also working with first responders, cops and firefighters through their pensions, Florida retirement system, and getting them to save enough for retirement, teaching them the habits to save enough to get to retirement, whether it's an individual or a couple or a family, each having different family makeup and different things in their life.
Absolutely, and thank you for that. And I think I also want to add a little bit of a shameless plug that you're also a board member for the Institute for Strategic Policy Solutions, and we can't thank you enough for the service that you do outside and inside the Institute as well. So can't thank you enough.
You're welcome. My honor.
So the first thing I want to get into, since we're in this conversation right now, is I want to reference a study done earlier this year conducted by bankrate.com. So they did a study conducted by a telephone interview, if I'm not mistaken. And from their findings, they found that over half of Americans living in the United States are unable to afford a $1,000 emergency expense. And I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty alarming and obviously scary if you find yourself in that situation. So the question I have for you, Dan, is how can individuals that are making perhaps a low to medium income, how can they develop that $1,000 or more to cover that emergency expense?
Yeah, when you're talking about, and if $1,000, with inflation, I think it's even more. Emergencies are going to cost more in the future with the cost of everything going up. So I think going forward, folks are going to have an even harder time coming up with, because everything else is taking more it takes more to run a household, whether it's a single person or. So the one thing the first thing I do with folks when I meet with them is build an emergency fund. And it's going to be just, out of every dollar, take a dime out of that, take a certain amount of money and build it up over time, slowly. It's going to be painful if you try to fill it and save all at once, but put a little bit and make it deliberate. Be very strict, because if you build it up, then it's going to be there. Don't tap into it if it's not an emergency. Also, if to get to that point, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's where's that extra money coming from? That is the spending part of it. You can control, there's only a couple levers that you can pull. One of them is spending. If you save first, then whatever's left you can spend. It's easier to not have an impulse buy and buy something that you don't need but you want, because that extra $5 is not in your pocket, it's in your savings account. So if you do that first and build up that savings, then there's less money in your pocket to spend, and then you increase that over time if you get a raise, or if there's a windfall, if you get a bonus or something happens, because there's going to be something that, whether it's a car, air conditioning, your health, something's going to happen that you're going to need that money. If you lose your job, you need some extra money. I say if you're an individual, 3 months of living expenses as a emergency fund. If you have a family, 6 months, because you've got to take care of other people. And if you have another person working in the house, maybe less, because there's 2 jobs providing, so you're not going to be the only provider. So and again, if you go online, you can find emergency fund information everywhere. Just how to do it. You get paid, move a little bit over right away.
Absolutely. And I think those are all relevant and valid points to make as well. I'm proud to say I have an emergency fund of my own, because you just really never know what's going to happen, especially in these trying times with inflation and whatnot. And since we're on the topic of inflation, and you stated earlier in the question that it makes it even harder for people to really have their dollars go the extra mile for them. So my next question to you on that is, what can individuals do to combat inflation since their dollars aren't going as far as they're able to?
The one thing that I'm telling folks is that you need to have a plan, a spending plan, a budget. What do you need on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, and what do you want? Because the needs need to come first. If you have, I tell folks that, if and when the next recession comes, you've got Netflix and you've got some streaming service and you've got toilet paper. If you only got money for one, you got to make a decision. So make sure that you've got enough money for the stuff that you need. And then think about what you need. Maybe you don't need some of the things that you have to build up that emergency fund. And also be deliberate in your purchases. Don't just go to the store and buy what you want, buy what you need. Being deliberate on your spending makes a big difference. Because you're also keeping track of what you're spending and what you're spending versus, the debit card was one of the greatest inventions, but it's also one of the worst inventions because people just pull it out and swipe. And if you have cash in your pocket, you're counting your cash. Or if you're, a lot of people don't consolidate their checking, on a monthly basis and see what they spent. If they do that, they're going to be surprised on what they spent. They're like, "Wow, I didn't need to spend that much on that." But if your spending is deliberate, it'll help with the rising costs.
Absolutely. And I agree, especially with having a consistent budget and seeing where every penny is going to each month. And I know there's a lot of helpful apps out there, even Excel spreadsheet templates that you can download online for free. I prefer to just do it old school. I use a pen and paper, and I just pretty much track everything along my accounts and whatnot. And that's my preferred method. So to each their own. As long as individuals are looking over their expenses each month, whatever format it is, that's what I believe that matters the most.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Great. So, and in addition to that, we're going to cut this interview pretty short. So the last is, do you have any information or any advice to anyone who is looking to save money, someone who's just had enough of living paycheck to paycheck? What advice can you give to them to get on a good starting ground?
One of the things that I see is you build an emergency fund, but then the next step is, I just had this conversation with a client. They have credit cards that are just very high interest rates. I said, all right, let's start on that. Let's start eliminating those. So now that we have an emergency fund built and saved, let's start, paying down the credit cards to get rid of that. Because if you're paying the minimum, you're never going to get it out of the way. So get that out of the way and work on it, diligently. And then she had two, so then work on the next one. So let's go for this one and then go to the next one, and don't rack them up. You can use them as long as they're used responsibly, which is hard because I'll pay it off next month, but then something else comes up and they just pile back up again. So get rid of those credit card. Don't maintain credit card balances. And then also, if you have access to a retirement plan, a 401k or a 403b, sign up for that. Get up to the match if there is a match, so that way that you can pay yourself first in the future. You're paying your future self first, and it comes out of your paycheck. The hardest part is if you get $1 in your hand and you got to take 50 cents and put it somewhere, you can come up with 100 excuses why I'll do it next month. So if you have a 401k or a 403b or some kind of retirement plan, that comes out first, and you'll be surprised on the savings. And there's enough resources on those websites that will help you save more and refine a budget and become a better steward of your finances.
Agreed, 100%. I really couldn't have said it any better myself. And Dan, I really can't thank you enough for dedicating your time to educate students and community members on how to be more responsible with their finances. And my intention for this interview is to hope many people get as much value out of this interview as possible. So again, thank you for your time.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you.
And welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that interview with Daniel Majerus, Certified Financial Planner, on some helpful tips and tricks to help you on your financial journey. So, Alex, since we just finished up that interview and Daniel went over a lot of great resources and education for people to improve their finances, what I found really great about USF the other day is when I was in the Bay Boreal building, is that they actually offer some great educational references for students as well, such as using your debit cards properly, monitoring your credit score, and what to do in the unforeseen circumstance where your account may be compromised. So what I want to ask you, Alex, is out of all the educational references that we obtained, what do you find the most beneficial to you right now?
Well, those are also very good resources too. I like the resource that they give out, which is how to create a budget. It teaches students and everyone alike about bills, paying rent, maintaining a budget when you're going to the grocery store, like not paying over $200 in junk food, or making sure you properly prep your meals in that sort of regard, and making sure that you can have good financial literacy as well going into the real world after graduation.
Absolutely, and those are all very relevant topics as well. And unfortunately, I'm not proud to admit this, but one of my shortcomings with finances is definitely going out to eat a lot, especially as a college student and getting home, sometimes you just don't want to cook. So, and a lot of the times going out to eat just seems like the better idea, but if you keep it up, and that really goes for anything really, those small purchases, they tend to really add up over time.
They really do.
Yeah.
Especially going out to eat, and maybe even for those above age, having a bit too much to drink at times as well.
Absolutely. Well, we genuinely hope everyone has enjoyed a couple of the educational resources as well as the conversation we've been having today. So we actually have a couple visuals that our off-camera contributor made, Emerson Taylor. So we're going to cut to those, and we hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time, me and Alex.
All right, welcome back. We hope you enjoyed those visuals by Emerson Taylor, and we are here today to continue on our financial and career-based discussion with some events or actual job fairs that you guys can attend yourselves if you are looking for a job and need some help with your finances. So these are coming up in December, so they're not this month, but we do have stuff coming in December. So do you want to know her?
Yeah. So I've heard there's an event. It's not in St. Pete, unfortunately, but there's one in Tampa, right? It's called the Career Festival.
So there's going to be actually two. So there is one for Tampa and St. Pete. Okay, so the one happening in Tampa will be hosted on December 9th at the Embassy Suites Hotel, which is near the aquarium downtown in Tampa. So for our Tampa friends and community, you can go down there and make sure that you're dressed to impress, because this is a job fair. So people who are recruiting and hiring and looking for crew members and whatnot, not crew members, but employees and stuff like that, employers are going to be there. So if you are looking for a job, you can definitely go through to the Embassy Hotel in Tampa, and that is hosted on December 9th from 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. So that's about 3 hours and 30 minutes that you can go down there and see if there's any job description or anybody who, piques your interest, and it would be something that can help you gain the financial stability that you're looking for.
And I know a pro tip about going to these fairs or these career opportunities that are available for students, make sure that you have a printed resume, right? That's very important nowadays.
A printed resume and an updated resume, making sure that all of the experience that you do have is up to date, so that employers can see what they're working with and can match you where they need to match you. So also, the one that's hosted for St. Pete is going to be a virtual job fair that is going on cloudhire.com. So you can go ahead and reserve you a seat, and that will take place from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's the same type of thing. You're going to go and talk to a bunch of different hiring agents and recruiters who are looking for people to work on their team. And that way you can gain the financial stability that you need, like I said.
And how is it for attire-wise? Is there a tip?
I guess for a virtual interview, I would say you would still want to dress to impress, probably from the shoulders up.
Semi-casual, right?
Right, exactly. From the shoulders up. From what they can see, you still need to be presentable over on the camera, and that way you can secure your spot in whatever job you're looking for, and that'll actually boost your chances. So definitely dressing to impress is important for all of the job fairs, and just making sure that you come with your resume and that you're ready
Multiple copies.
Right, just in case anything happens or you hand it out, they need to take it and stuff like that. So making sure that you're prepared for this job fair is important in securing your job. All right, so we are going to go over to an interview that you conducted, or something that you conducted.
Yeah, so I did a pre-recorded segment with our student government governor here on the St. Pete campus to just talk more about how students can get involved with their jobs opportunities here on campus, and the opportunities for knowing more about how they can further their career that they are currently in, going in as a junior or senior or after graduation, the potentials that are available on the campus for them.
All right, so we'll tune into that.
All right, so this evening I have with me the USF St. Pete campus governor, Sean Schrader, with me. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you. It's great to be with you.
Yes, so this evening I thought we could discuss more about the opportunities that students can have already coming into the campus, or if they're starting out their first year, they're thinking about a job on campus. What do you recommend for students to do with jobs or careers?
Well, it's really exciting when you think about the kind of unique campus environment we have here. I mean, we're just minutes from downtown St. Petersburg, which is great. It's really dangerous because I have a personal love for ice cream. And so, you're just minutes away from a lot of different ice cream shops. But the compromise I come up with is if I walk to the ice cream shop, it's earned. But in all seriousness, what's also in walking distance from this campus is a lot of job opportunities, a lot of internship opportunities. And part of the deal, though, is you've got to expose students to make them aware of the fact that these are out here. So it's really exciting. Earlier this semester, we hosted an event with the Muma College of Business and the Tampa Bay Rowdies and the Tampa Bay Rays soccer team, where they were able to come to this campus and talk with students about different opportunities that are out there for jobs and internships in the sports field. And this spring, very exciting. We're going to be hosting a week with the Tampa Bay Lightning with the Vinnick Sports Group that'll do something similar, but for what careers are available with the Lightning.
Oh, very nice. And so right now, there are opportunities through Handshake, of course. We're all familiar with Handshake as students here on the campus. How else do you think Handshake can be expanded or told to students?
Yeah, I think, like you said, Handshake's very important. Not only is it a good tool for job opportunities that are available, but it's a great way to have your resume reviewed by professional career staff in the School of Business we have here. It's also a great way to understand, what internships are out there and stuff like that. I think a thing that we can just really be doing is to promote this resource. Again, it's a tool, and it's so easy to assume everybody knows it's out there, when some students really may not know it's out there. And I think through the career fairs that the College of Business has already, that's a great way that they really promote it as an asset.
Most definitely. And another thing that I know our campus is known in doing is having the job fairs, most definitely. And I've also heard that there's actually a podcast that the Moomba School of Business does, and they promote the career services that way.
Yes, that's true. And funny enough, you mentioned that. You'll get the sneak peek here. I am going to be joining that podcast a little later on this semester, early next semester. Have the chance to sit down with them a little earlier on, and it was really exciting. That it's a great group there, and the thing that I really emphasized is how in our student government can we do something a little bit different and really be an effective tool for students in providing those opportunities so they know about job experiences, job opportunities that are out there, which otherwise may have not been possible.
And it's very important to have those on-campus experiences too, even if it's not related to the major, right?
Oh yeah, of course, because you really kind of never know where you're going to go with stuff. I mean, I even share my experience in student government. When I was a freshman on this campus, I had no interest ever, sub-zero interest in wanting to be in student government. I didn't think it was a good use of my time. And here I am today, and getting to serve the students in a very exciting role and position. And part of it is, again, just being able to take some of those experiences and some of those opportunities you otherwise may have discounted. They may not be directly related to the job role you're going to have in the long term, but they still can help in the short term for sure.
Well, that's wonderful advice for these students, because I know I was worried about getting an on-campus job this past semester, first time having that, and I was able to utilize my resources on this campus, and I want students to know that, they can talk to the Handshake, they can talk to the career services. Who else do you think they can talk to?
I think those are great. I think another great thing is just to sort of reach out to professors, reach out to faculty that are on this campus, staff that are on this campus that are in some of these roles already. More likely than not, they already have established connections in the community as well, where if you contact a professor for assistance, they'll be able to get you connected with somebody else who can help make a real positive difference for others and really can help get you as a student connected as well, which I think is great.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate, Sean, those tips for our students here on this campus. I know it's not easy to step out of our comfort zone sometimes to try a job on campus.
You're right, and the big thing I try and remember, and it's hard, I mean, it's a lot easier to say it than to do it, but when you think about different opportunities that are out there, whether you're researching them, whether you're actually applying on Handshake or on campus here for a job, whether you're applying for an internship in the community, you might as well go for it, because the absolute worst thing you're going to hear is no. And you know what? If you never apply, you're never actually going to know what the alternative may have been. You may have got that opportunity if you had applied. So I think that's the biggest thing. And in instances where maybe you don't get that opportunity and you're told no, or you're not accepted for whatever reason, still having the chance to have your resume reviewed, the chance to go through in-depth interview questions, that's the kind of stuff that's so valuable and such a valuable experience, and you can use in the long term.
Absolutely. I appreciate that final word there. Thank you so much, Sean, again.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, well, welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Sean Schrader, our student governor on the St. Pete campus. The Bullcast crew and I would like to thank him again for those incredible resources that he shared with us about getting involved on campus. He's a wonderful resource. Our student government has great resources for students that are looking to get involved for careers and job opportunities on our campus.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you taking your time to go ahead and conduct that interview. And we would just like to thank everyone for tuning in today to this week's episode on financial literacy and some financial tips in your lives. So next week, make sure that you're tuning in so that you can get some information on Thanksgiving, as well as some recipes and ways that you can cook some like quick and easy meals, I believe. And we're gonna do some college dorm
easy preparation.
Yeah, some
meals that are available
Right.
if you aren't able to
dorm-friendly
leave.
meals that we can make for Thanksgiving if you're not able to go home this Thanksgiving. So we hope you'll tune in next week for that show. And thank you guys again for watching today.
Yes, and as always,
Go
go Bulls!